Welcome to another meeting of TV Holics Anonymous. Welcome to another meeting of TV Holics Anonymous. My name is Ruru and I am a TV holic. Mimi's not here. She does not watch Choo-ry, so I'm going to be the only person doing this episode. I realized in one of the episodes that I did with Mimi recently, I just kept saying like so much, so I'm going to try and cut that out. Okay, let's get on with it. So this is episode 17 of season 1 of Choo-ry. So what happens is, like, it opens up with, like, this bridge that we see, like, somewhere across the, I'm believing, the Han River in South Korea, and it's called Come Here, Here Come the New Little, let me scrap that, it's called Here Come the New Little Bros. So, you know, the new little dongsens. Yeah, namdongsens. From what, sorry if I said that wrong. Again, I'm not Korean, but I'm really loving, like, the TV shows, the culture, all that stuff. So I'm trying to learn a bit here and there. Anyway, so it's a wine bar they're at in Banpo-dong in Sochogo, Seoul. Again, sorry if I'm getting it wrong. And where they just start basically with, like, the directors and stuff telling everyone to sit down, and then there is this guy called DinDin. I'm not quite sure who he is. Let me just actually, while I'm talking, look up who DinDin is on is that the right guy? Yeah. Okay, so DinDin is a Korean rapper songwriter. So I don't think he belongs to the same he's also a actor, comedian, producer. All right. I don't think he belongs to the same group as these other guys, but yeah. So DinDin is there, and he seems to already be quite well acquainted with Hoon, and he's just drinking some water, and they're just discussing the guys before they meet them for dinner. So DinDin is like his co-host for this. It's wild, like how he has so many different co-hosts. They don't really introduce any of the co-hosts, and I find that a bit strange. I would prefer like a quick, like, even just like chyron at the bottom of the screen, like explaining who this person is for, like, you know, non-Koreans, or like for people who are like not, maybe older Koreans who don't watch like a lot of K-pop or listen to a lot of K-pop and things like that, and don't know much about the younger generations, like, you know, trends and like music and stuff. It could be like something that Netflix could do. So they're just talking. Choo Sun-hoon's got his hat on indoors and his shades on indoors. I think that's his like style. So he's just chatting with him, and he's also got some kind of ascot situation going on with some kind of like scarf that he has on. Sorry, I just kind of knocked the mic there. So then he's just talking about DinDin is talking about these guys are Ichiban in Japan. I'm not quite sure what Ichiban means. Maybe it means like really big in Japan. Ichiban, no idea. And so then Choo Sun-hoon kind of like quickly searches them online, and he's like, yeah, they're a huge deal. And then they're just like, the guys come in, so they're like basically saying they're like big, and the guys enter, and they are holding like bags or something, and they just like sit down, and they're like, oh, thank you for coming to meet, thank you for meeting us, and they're like, thank you for inviting us, and, you know, getting the pleasantries out of the way. And then it's basically like, he's just, the guy's like, hi, I'm Joshua. Hello, I'm Joshua. And then the other guy's like, my name's The Eight. Random weird name, The Eight. So he wants to be called The Eight. And then they're just talking about, this is our 10th year. We're like veterans in the K-pop scene. So like, then they're just like chatting about stuff, and they're just talking about how like they just pop up on screen like their social media presence. So I think their Instagram or their like YouTube channels against Sunghoon's on just show up on the screen, and then they just like do a little flash of like these guys like dancing in their group and stuff. So then they're just talking about 17. So 17's not a group that I've like heard of, but apparently it's popular. I did a little search, and 17 has like 13 members, and they're pretty big. They have like, as of me making this video, not video, this episode, they have like 15.5 million followers on YouTube. So that's wild, their channel. So that's all I've searched really off them, and they're quite big around the world. So then Sunghoon and DinDin are just like discussing like, I can't believe like you guys came on this show. How come you're so big, and how come you guys like wanted to be on the show? Seriously, like we don't get it. This is not even like a big show yet. And then the members of 17, the 8 and Joshua basically are like laughing, and they're like, but Sunghoon's just like, seriously, why did you guys want to come? And they're like, we both discussed it, and we want to be friends with, we want to be like Namdong-sons of Sunghoon. That means younger brothers to Sunghoon. So to Sunghoon. So that's why we came. And then they're like, yeah, so that's why we really wanted to come on your show, to meet you. And for you to adopt us as like younger brothers. I think that's what DinDin said. And then Choo Sunghoon just asked like a random question, why me? Why do you like me? And they're like, because you're cool, and like we're huge fans, and your YouTube made us like curious about you, basically. And he's like, oh, right, okay. And then they just like not exchange gifts, but the younger K-pop idols, they just give out gifts to Choo Sunghoon. So Joshua gives him a bottle of tequila, very expensive tequila, and Sunghoon is quite impressed by this. And it's like a black bottle. I believe it is, I'm not quite sure, but I think it's what's the word? What's the name? What's that famous tequila? The one in those tall bottles. I know Choo Sung-hoon did like a whole video dedicated to on his YouTube channel about trying these tequilas at his sister's restaurant in Japan on his YouTube channel. What is it? What is it? What is it? Oh, I'm not gonna remember. Anyone knows, just write in the comments. It's like these tall like bottles. Normally one like it's blue, but there's like a whole different types. Like one of them's white, one of them's blue, one of them's black. I think like they get expensiver as you go down. I know what it is, but I can't remember. I want to say Mazcow. No, I want to say no. I don't know what it is. Never mind. Let me just do a quick search because it's going to really bother me. You know when things like that just bother you, like you just have to know the answer? Famous tall tequila bottles. It's not Don Julio. Just gotta know. I think this is it. I don't know what it's called. It's just a picture. Pete's sake. Okay, there's just a picture. Let me go to the link. And it's gonna say what it is. It's gonna say what it is. I've got a picture. It's what is it? Azul Reposado. I think it is. Casa Azul. Casa Azul. That's it. I finally got it. Sorry about that. I digressed for way too long. Okay, so I'm only like, while I'm recapping this by looking at the actual by watching the actual episode on Netflix. while recapping it, but I'm watching it in silent because I watched it before, but now I'm just going back to recap it. I found this particular episode like really hilarious. I like laughed so much. Anyway, so yeah, they're just talking about the tequila bottle, and he's like, "This is a precious gift, and thank you so much," and he's like really happy for it. Then the other guy, that gift was the Casa Azul was, I believe it's Casa Azul anyway, was from Joshua, and now the eight gave him a bottle of, I believe it's like Japanese or Chinese um alcohol. I don't know what it's called. I'm looking for the name when they say it, but I'm not quite sure. So yeah, then he's just talking about he then Sunghoon's like, I have like a meeting, basically I have a meeting for guys, like exclusive for guys, and we have up to 50 members, and it's in Japan. And they're asking, do you all drink together? And he's like, yeah, it helps break the ice. And then he's like, around 30 guys won't remember what happened because we like go so hard like drinking, and then he's laughing. So I feel he's just trying to intimidate them right now. Or he probably does do that because he is a bit wild like that, Sunghoon. Um I also, and then he's just like, they also like to drink as well, but they have practice, they said, straight after shooting this episode of Choo-ry. Um, and then Sung-hoon said, I'll be working out straight after this as well. So what should we do? Should we not drink or what? Basically, they're saying. And DinDin um is kind of like nodding his head, I've got somewhere to be as well after this. And then he's teasing them. He's like, but I thought you guys wanted to be my like little bros, my Nandong sons. And they're like, he's like, are you backing out now? And they're just kind of like thinking about it. And they're like, yeah, basically, if you take us in, we'll drink. We'd love to drink with you. And they basically want to join his like men's group kind of thing situation. This is all really weird and very uh hyper masculine, what's the word, like grossly like masculine, like not grossly masculine. I can't get the words out for it. If I remember, I'll say it anyway. So then they just kind of like um talk about how tough it is, like their jobs and stuff. So um and oh no, before that they're just talking about what should we start drinking, and then just like um Joshua is like, I just drink wine and stick to that, or if I'm drinking something, I just stick to one thing. And then the eight is like, I need um to eat first before I drink. And then Sunghoon's just saying everyone's different, like they're all different. The way that they like to drink, everyone drinks in their own different ways, basically. And then they just Sunghoon's like, come on, let's order something. Let's start off with something light. So then he decides to like um start off with a beer. And then he said, then I'll go to white wine and then move on to red wine and then whiskey, in that order. And basically both of the like 17 members are like laughing their heads off hearing this. And DinDin said, I'll just do the same. I'll have what he's having, basically. And then basically what happens is they just all get a round of beers, and Sunghoon sees his beer and they all cheers, and Choo Sunghoon just like downs the beer like in one go. He like inhales it, basically. It's not even chugging, he just basically inhales it. I feel like he just inhaled it. Then DinDin does the same, and then the two guys from 17 look a bit nervous, and they eventually just not Justin, Joshua, he kind of decides to like down it as well. They're like, oh, you don't have to, you don't have to. And Sunghoon's like, well, if you guys want to join the club, basically. And so they kind of like take the bait. They kind of like they egg them on basically, but say no, but you don't have to, you don't have to, don't worry about it. If you can't, you can't. And then Sunghoon like high fives him, and then I feel like the eight feels pressured to do it, and they're like, seriously, no, don't do it, don't do it if you don't want it, you don't want it. And then he basically ends up having to chug it as well because even though he's like, we've got practice straight after this, and you said you weren't going to drink too much, you were going to go light. That's what the eight said. And then basically some lobsters come out, some seafood comes out, and then the guy is trying to explain the way it comes up and shows like a wine, and he says it's from uh, California, I believe, California grapes in the wine, and then he's explaining that, and it has like strong fruity flavors. And Chu Sung Hoon is like, yeah, great, yeah, great, 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 and the guy just starts laughing because it's like such a weird reaction to have to someone like explaining the wines, and then he's just like pouring like white wine into everyone's glasses. So then they're just like pretending to like they're just being obnoxious and pretending to know about the wines and stuff, and they're like lifting the glasses up and saying it's transparent. It's like you can tell how like good the white is, how light it is, or how thick it is by like the moisture in the glass and this and that, and like raise it up and like swirl it, and you have to swirl it anti-clockwise, not clockwise, or you'll like get it all over everyone. And you have to smell it, you have to take a good whiff in of the wine and just like whiff it up your nose basically and all that. And I just found this stuff a bit like interesting, but yeah, kind of a bit like slow and like annoying. Um, at the same time, like I found it all a bit, you know, I just wanted them to start with a banter, like banter up, be a bit more like banterous. And then apparently Joshua wants to be choked by Chu Sung Hoon. He's like, I saw your low kick and that looks like too painful, so um, I always wanted to be like rear end choked by you, just to see how it feels. And Chu Sung Hoon's like, I'll do it after everything because after I've had a few beers because it's going to be hard for me to like choke someone from 17 because you're like from such a big group. Um, and then DinDin decides to jump in for no reason. I feel like he just wants to make himself relevant in this like group meeting for some reason, and he's like, I'll go first, and then you can see what it's like. And then Joshua's like, thank you, thank you. So he's watching DinDin being choked by Chu Sung Hoon, and Chu Sung Hoon is just showing the right technique, and DinDin is really like he looks like he's dying, or his like eyes are popping out his skull basically, and he taps out really quick, and he's like, oh my god, I felt like my like eyes were being squeezed, like I can't believe I can't remember what he said exactly, but he's like felt like my eardrums popped or something. And then I feel like the eight is like the most sensible person at this table, but he's still being like peer pressured into drinking and like doing all the bad things. And not that I know any of these people. And I find out later that the eight is also Chinese, so he's a Chinese member of this Korean boy band. And also I found out that Joshua is also American Korean. So he was born in America, but now he lives and works in Korea. That's interesting too. So yeah, so he's just saying, yeah, that was like I felt like I was basically dying. And Chu Sung Hoon was like, yeah, that's fun. And he's like, no, I'm fine. And so basically Joshua's like, I'm ready, like, let's try it on can you try it on me? So then Chu Sung Hoon downs his glass of wine is like and he like chugs it basically, and then he's ready to choke Joshua. So he goes from behind, he's feeling up Joshua, and he's like, sorry, I'm feeling you up, but it looks like you work out, do you? And he's like, yeah. And then he's just feeling him, he's like, oh, I'm jealous, I'm jealous. Look at his like muscles. And so then he goes to choke him, and he's explaining like how to choke properly. And then he chokes, and Joshua taps out quickly. And he's like, yeah, basically, yeah, it's quite an experience. And the eight looks like, what the hell? Like, what are you people doing? Why do you want to be choked out by like a professional MMA fighter? Like, this is a stupid idea. And then basically, Joshua says like he wants to learn the technique, and Chu Sung-hoon says, "Oh, you can practice on me." So then he goes to practice on Chu Sung-hoon. He he does. Chu Sung-hoon helps him with the technique, and then he tells him to squeeze, and then Chu Sung-hoon taps out, and he's like, "Wow, that was so strong. You really do work out." And he's quite impressed, and I feel like Joshua is also happy that he like impressed Chu Sung-hoon. Then they get some meat coming through. So they get like a steak. It looks very red. Oh, I think it's got sauce on it or something. And then they get their red wine. So I think it's like Cabernet Sauvignon, I think, and it's paired with the food that they ordered, the meat. And so they're drinking that, they're swirling it around, being like pretentious again with the wine, and then they're just having shrimp and the seafood and the steak. And basically Chu Sung Hoon is like inhaling the steak, you know how he always does. He's taking like he's eating it like it's just like a snack, just like wolfing it down, like non-stop eating, like eating really fast. And then he's like, "Oh, can I get a refill? Like there's no more steak left for me." And basically then they start talking about dance practice and stuff like that. DinDin's asking like about like, so do you like practice together? And they're like, yeah, a while ago. Also that he was talking about, I saw a video, DinDin's talking about like, I saw a video of Hoshi. I'm guessing Hoshi is another member of their group. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but he was drunk and he still came to practice, and they like recorded footage of him. It's online somewhere, probably their YouTube channel or like um Instagram or somewhere like that. Uh like a social media platform, and of him like dancing when he's drunk, and he still turned up to practice like drunk basically, and they're like, yeah, you're completely right. And it's just showing like their great work ethic. Um yeah, and then DinDin's just praising them for being like diligent despite like being drunk and stuff like that. And they're just like, we feel a sense of responsibility and we wouldn't want to let anyone down in our group. So that's why. And then rice comes in. There's rice, but Chu Sung Hoon's like, I finished my steak, so what do I eat the rice with? And they're just like all like shocked that he just like gulped it down. And everyone else has still got food on their plate, which is quite funny. They're all laughing. And they're basically he just wants some more. So Joshua offers his steak, and then um DinDin also offers his steak as well. So they're just DinDin puts it in his plate, and they're just like still bantering away, like talking about stuff, talking about the beers and things like that that they had. And then they're just talking about beer, soju and beer. So Chu Sung Hoon surprises these 17 members with a special guest. He said, we've got a special guest for you guys, and they're like really excited, and they're wondering who they invited. And they said that it's a professional. So basically it's this lady who is a bar attender, I believe, and she's really big on social media, and I have seen her before as well. And she basically um pours like this beer and soju mixture together, and it's like quite remarkable the way she does it. Like, I suggest if you guys haven't watched this episode, watch it, because it's quite, what she does is quite entertaining. Like, it's quite a skill. I don't know how she learned to do this or decided she was going to try to do something like this. It's quite interesting, and she's very like, she's telling them what to do. She's very like, in control of the whole situation the whole time. So she's uh Pong Kan Po Hang Cocktail Auntie Ham Sun Bok. Guys, again, I'm sorry if I didn't say that right. Yeah, so she went viral on Instagram, and they just show like a clip of her, and everyone seems to know who she is, and they all say that they've seen her on Instagram before. Um, and yeah, she just introduces herself, and the 17 guys say she's very elegant. and ask her if she's like normally dressed up, and she was like, I was born elegant. And then they all laughing. And she's wearing like a goofy, not goofy, a Gucci, a Gucci scarf. And then she already starts with all the stunts, like throwing the drinks around, bartending stunts. And Chu Sung-hoon's very impressed. What I love about watching Chu Sung-hoon's like antics, like on this show and on his YouTube channel, is that he basically is like so like expressive with his face, and he's like so shocked, and then like you can see it all over his face. I love like watching people that have like their like go through like a range of expressions on their face. Like you can tell exactly what they're thinking, and he's so like expressive. So that's I think what the allure is to Chu Sung Hoon. I believe it's his expressions on his face and his reactions to stuff. I think that's what makes him like endearing to people to watch. And I think that's why I like watching him too. And I think that's why these guys wanted to like become his Namdong sons, because he's very interesting. So basically, she starts with the soju and she splashes it everywhere. She splashes it over the 17 guys and she splashes it over Chu Sung Hoon. And then she's splashing it onto the glasses, like really, like, without measuring anything. And then she gets the beer and puts her finger in there and, like, is basically splashing it between glasses. And then she just randomly tells Chu Sung Hoon to open his mouth. And she just, this is what I was laughing at while watching it. She just squirts it into his mouth and everyone starts laughing and he's like, that was so sudden. And then he's like opening his mouth again, ready, and she squirts it in there again, then wipes his mouth, and she does it again, and then she randomly goes to the 17 guys and squirts it in their mouths too. It's hilarious. And then they're just talking about when it gets to Joshua, he was the last one to have that bottle squirted in his mouth, and DinDin said that this looks like piss, like someone like peeing in your mouth, basically, like a kid peeing, or like, and then Chu Sung-hoon's finding that funny, and they're just like, it starts to get really like silent sounding. Then she pulls out like a phone, or like, oh, she pulls out her phone and she puts the flashlight on her phone and she puts the glass on her phone on the flashlight on the back, and it lights up the glass. And then she's like, when you drink it, um just drink it by holding the glass on the phone. And she's just asking, how was it? And he's like, oh, it was really sweet and creamy. And Ji Sung-hoon's quite excited. They all say it was sweet and creamy. So Joshua says that, and the eight says that. DinDin says the same basically. And she's like, what? Ji Sung-hoon said, why do you have to hold the um phone underneath with the light? And she's like, basically, it's for the vibes. And then she's like, oh, the now it's time for Chu Sung Hoon, but the whipped cream, at the end, the whip, not whipped cream, the whip has got really like the foam has like gone down, so it won't taste as good. So I'm gonna do like this trick to make it foamier. And she said that I'm gonna swing this and then throw it, and you have to catch it. If you don't catch it, that's your responsibility. Someone cracked their head on the glass, so I'm not taking the blame for that when I throw it. So if you fail to catch it, it's on you. And so he's like freaking out of it. Not freaking out, but he's just like getting ready so he doesn't get it smacked on him. And then she just like places it on there. So that was her little joke. So I find this woman hilarious. I don't know about anyone else. Comment if you guys find her hilarious too, because I just thought she's so funny. So then he drinks it, and he drinks it holding the camera, the phone. And he said, yeah, that was really smooth. And then she just squirts some more beer into his mouth, and everyone's laughing. It's hilarious. And then she's just squirting it back into a glass, and then she just squirts it into his mouth again. And he's like, please warm me at least. And then she makes this kind of like multicolored cocktail, like it's like green, yellow, and red. And she said it's a rainbow cocktail for good luck. And gulp it slowly, and it brings you like good luck. So don't drink it fast. So they're all like, they consume so much alcohol in this episode, by the way. I think it was a bit gross. Like it really reminded me of like university and like, like all the drinking culture in university and I was feeling sick thinking I'm just like at university drinking and it was making me feel sick, really, honestly. Um, yeah, so then they're just like drinking the drink and they're all like finishing off the rainbow like drink and they're enjoying it. They said they like that too. And then she makes him a sunrise drink, Chu Sung Hoon. She calls it sunrise drink. She puts the phone back on the bottom of the glass and says, slowly, slowly drink it. So she's like, 천천히, I believe 천천히 is slowly, slowly. And she's like, now you have to look and you'll see the sunrise. And so he's looking while he's drinking. I love her like low budget tricks of putting the the phone torch underneath the drink and like telling them to look up and that you can see the sunrise because obviously people that have been drinking for a while are like going to be enamored by this, like it's going to be like wow for them. So that was that was interesting. I found myself laughing throughout this whole entire episode. It was quite fun. Anyway, so Chu Sung-hoon said, "Yeah, it's the morning. It does look like the sunrise, like wakey wakey," and they all start laughing. So I think it's like sunrise surprise or something. And then Joshua has it too, and he's like it's unreal, and they're all talking about how it looks like Switzerland and Hawaii, the sunrise in Hawaii. That's what Chu Sun-hoon said. And DinDin said Switzerland, and then Joshua said Dubai, and she's laughing at all the comments from all the drunks at the table. um, all the drunken men at the table, basically. So basically they're quite buzzed at this point. Um, and then Chu Sung-hoon said, "Can I ask a personal question to the eight?" And he's just talking about his scar, and she's like, "How did you get the scar? Was it in a fight?" And basically he's like, "No, I just ran into a table when I was a kid, and I ran really fast into a table and I got a scar there." And she said, it's basically like, "I'm really jealous of people with a scar on their face, and I've always wanted like a huge gash across my face. I think it would look like so cool." And the 17 guys are like laughing their heads off at this point. And Chi Sang-hoon's like, "Yeah, it's basically on my bucket list. And I just want to get like a samurai sword and get someone to like slash it across my face." And then basically DinDin said, "Yeah, I'll be happy to do that, but I just don't want backlash. And I also like basically am like fearful for my life if I do that." And then she's got the last set of drinks ready. I believe this is the last set of drinks. So these are also colourful drinks, and she lights them. They're shots. I believe they're like some sort of like sambuca shots because I've had sambuca shots. You know when they light them on the top. So Chu Sang-hoon is really amazed by this. He's never seen like drinks lit like that. And he just puts his hand there and he's like, "Oh my god, it really is hot. It's fire." And they're all laughing. And then Joshua gets like, I don't know what it is, like a potato or a piece of steak or um I believe maybe like some seafood, and he toasts it over the lit drinks, and everyone's quite impressed with that, and he eats it and he says it's warm, and Chi Sung-hoon is impressed by that as well. And then she basically tells them to like slowly drink this and gulp it slowly, slowly, slowly. She's just like, just drink it really slowly, slowly, slowly. Um, and I love like the chirons that they have across the screen. I don't know if it's chirons or whatever, but basically they just wrote about like before he drinks it, they're basically while he's drinking it, basically they've written across the screen that alcohol loving nephew follows auntie's instructions. It's just hilarious to me. So he's slowly, slowly drinking that shot, the colourful rainbow kind of shot thing. I forgot what she called it. And basically, he claps his hands and he's like really happy. And he goes, "I'm happy," after drinking it. And they're all like, I've never heard anyone's reaction to like drinking a drink, like saying I'm happy after like finishing a drink. So they're just laughing about that. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention that the guys are wearing suits. I mean, the eight is wearing a suit and a tie, and Joshua is wearing something quite smart as well. Like, and Chu Sung Hoon is in his like style of clothing, and the other guy, yeah, he's just wearing like jeans. DinDin is wearing jeans and a red top. So yeah, and the guys from eight are wearing like black, all black. Chu Sung Hoon's wearing a black t-shirt, and he is wearing white, like, I don't know, jeans or like some kind of trousers. Um so basically they thank her and she like bows and they say thank you and they all bowing to her, and then she leaves. And then he's like, I want to try this like bottle of Mo Tai or something like that that the eight bought for him. So basically he opens it, and they're just talking about manicure. Did you manicure fingers? And Ji Sung Hoon said, yeah, I did mine's a while ago too. And that's just a throwback to one of his the previous episodes. And if you guys haven't seen that, I urge you watch that. That's when he gets his ass crack waxed basically in that episode, and also gets his nails done. And I have talked about that and recapped that. Just go back in my episodes and you'll hear me talk about that. So yeah, so he's just pouring it for him. The eight's pouring it for everyone. So they've all got it, put it into shot glasses, these little tiny shot glasses, and they drink. And Chu Sang Hoon's impressed with that. Um, and then basically he's like, I want to drink some more. And then he asks, Chu Sang Hoon asks the eight, because he's Chinese, like, how do you toast in China? So he's like, the drinking etiquette it's just like friends, so there's like, it's not necessary for like it to be so formal kind of thing, because in Korea, when you're drinking, like there's a lot of different rules, like, and there's a lot of different rules, like for like older people and younger people. It's not, everyone's not on the same level, so you kind of have to follow like age etiquette. If you didn't know, now you know. um so they're just talking about that, and then they're just talking about DinDin is explaining to Chu Sung Hoon, because Chu Sung Hoon is Korean, Korean, but he lives in Japan. So he's born and raised in Japan. I believe he's like fourth generation Japanese Korean, and he's just explained that you have to, DinDin's like, when you're pouring, you have to like hold one hand, the drink with one hand, and touch your arm, the drink's pouring hand with the other hand, and also cover the label of the drink. And it's just like etiquette, pouring etiquette. And Chu Sung Hoon's just basically like, why? And then he's just like, can I hold my head and pour the drink at the same time? And the 17 guys are just laughing. And so basically they're just like, they're just enacting that, basically, Chu Sung Hoon and DinDin, and they're like loving it. The 17 guys are like laughing their heads off. And then they decide to like do some drinking games and drop the honorifics. So DinDin's like, let's like mix this up a bit. So basically they reverse the ages. So the youngest becomes the oldest and the oldest becomes the youngest kind of situation. So the eight becomes the oldest, and Chu Sung Hoon becomes the youngest. So he's like, basically, that he has to like listen to what they say and do as they say, basically. So they're like, like all teasing each other, basically. They're just asking about the ages, and the eight is born in 87, no, 97, and Joshua is 95, um, and DinDin is 91, and Chu Sung Hoon is 75, in 75. So they're all different ages, and from the youngest. So basically, so they basically Choo Sung-hoon becomes the youngest, and then they're kind of like, um, not berating him, but like hazing him kind of thing, like teasing him, and they kind of like want him to like do a dance and or sing, and then they also ask for his kind of like watch, and he's like, oh, it's just 300 million uh Korean won, and then they're making him hold you know the the tequila properly and pour it um for everyone into their glasses with the right etiquette. And he's saying, "Oh, is that okay, sir?" And they're like, Choo Sung-hoon said, "Oh, Joshua said it's too much. You drink it." So Choo Sung-hoon takes it for himself and drinks it, downs it. Um, and then basically, the youngest who now is the oldest, which is the 8, hasn't said a word. So he's basically saying, "Sing us a song." Kind of demands Choo Sung-hoon to sing us a song, and then Choo Sung-hoon says, "I can't really sing a song. Um, I'm not really good at that. I'd be embarrassed to sing in front of these world-class singers." And then so they made a microphone out of glass and Joshua makes a microphone out of a glass and a spoon, and Choo Sung-hoon's like amazed, and he takes the mic and he he doesn't sing, but and the 8 said, "If you're not a good singer, I'm sure that you can at least do a dance." So then Choo Sung-hoon's like, as for a dance, the 8 wants to see a dance, and to be honest, I'm a terrible dancer, he says basically, and I much prefer like punching people. So they like laugh at that, and they're like lost for words because they obviously feel like maybe he's gonna punch us. Like in that situation with the drunk Choo Sung-hoon, like you might feel like he might punch you. So yeah, that's interesting. So um then they're just like, just dance for us and that would be great. And so they're like, he's like, why don't basically what ends up happening is that he says, why don't you dance? Choo Sung-hoon says, why don't you guys dance for us, and as you're like the pop stars. And then the 8 said, if you do ego, which is like act cute and ask cutely, then we'll do it. So then Choo Sung-hoon actually does it, and they were like scared to ask him that, and Choo Sung-hoon starts laughing, and so he asks in a really cute way and does ego, and then they start laughing, and they actually like get up and they dance for him. So they bow and they're like, sorry if we like took the piss too much basically, and then they're all drunk, but they dance like perfectly well, like in sync and everything. So these guys must be like practicing like every single day, like dancing and singing. So they just do their dance. It's from, I believe, one of their like newest videos or something that they're practicing. So yeah, like they dance and they're like, it's really, really good. They both dance great together, and Choo Sung-hoon is basically filming it on his phone. Um, and they're basically he starts to they sit back down. Choo Sung-hoon starts talking about the Instagrams. Are you both active on Instagram? They're like, yeah. And the 8 recently, DinDin says that the 8 recently became a ambassador for Louis Vuitton in China. And Choo Sung-hoon expresses how he's extremely jealous of that because he loves Louis Vuitton, and then he just asks for like tips on best posing times, and they both laugh basically, the 17 guys, because they find it funny that he's just admitting to being jealous of them. And then yeah, so he's just asking about like best times to post, and then DinDin's like, what he really means is that could you upload a photo on your Instagrams with him? And then they're just like, on the screen they put Chiron saying ulterior motive exposed, something like that, and that's hilarious. Oh, these Chirons are just like these things that they put up for them is just like so hilarious. And then Chu Sung-hoon's trying to be like modest, saying, "Oh no, I can't possibly ask them to put me up on their Instagrams. I don't know if they can do that. I don't know if they're allowed." And then they're just basically like, I think they agree that they can do that, but only if we become close friends. They say, like, if we're allowed in your group, your men's group. And then he's just like, most people find it a little comfortable around me first when they first get into the men's group. Then he pulls another shot of the Mo Tai drink. He downs it and they're laughing at him again. And then he's just like, younger guys, like, ease up when they see me get drunk first. So that's the way that, like, I do these like men's meetup groups. And then he's kind of feeling sick at this point because he's drank too much. And then his new Yadong Sen, not Yadong Sen, Namdong Sen, um um the eight basically is like, you're not meant to drink this much. That's why they put it, serve it in these tiny little glasses so people don't drink too much, because it's like a lot to drink. And he's just getting schooled by him basically. And then at the end they're just asking like, anything else you guys want to achieve in the future. So basically uh uh they're just like, basically, I'd love to keep finding success in everything, but this is what the eight says. He's like, I just want all of us to stay together for as long, all 13 of us to stay together for as long as possible. And it's very important to all of them. Basically, that's what Joshua said as well. And his personal goal is to try acting. And then DinDin said, yeah, you've got a face for that, so you should definitely try it. Like, you're very like good looking, basically, he's saying. And then they're just Chu Sung-hoon says, just let's all just have another drink. So he pours out a shot for everyone again, and they like kind of cheers and like do a shot of that Muay Thai thing they do. They're like, why don't we do like an entanglement? So they entangle all their arms together, and then they all four of them like try and drink through that, which is really hard because Chu Sang-hoon's got like a tree trunk of an arm, and everyone's trying to drink between his tree trunk of an arm. It's quite difficult, but they all manage it. And then that's the end of the episode, basically. But not really, because they're like saying bye, and like these are the like end scenes. These are like behind the scenes. And then Chu Sung-hoon's saying, "Do you have Kakao Talk? Is that the best way to reach you?" And Joshua was like, "Yes, but I'll give you my number." And then he's just asking what time's your DinDin's asking what time's your practice. It's at 9, but we can make it. That's what they say, and we'll get going. And they just say bye, goodbye, and they went off to practice, basically straight to practice after like getting drunk, eating and getting drunk with Chu Sung-hoon. I bet they're gonna definitely regret it the next day because they're gonna have like nasty hangovers because they mixed so many drinks together. A few days later, there's a picture of them all meeting up with Chu Sung-hoon. So the two guys from 17, so that's Joshua and the eight. And they had a men's like meet up, but there was like, it's not in the on the screen they write not a men's meetup, but a meet up. So they just went to eat meat together, them and like I believe like three other guys as well. So it was like a small meet up. And then that's the end of the episode. So yeah, that was the end of episode 17, I believe, of Try Chore. We've got one more for this season, for season 1. And yeah, so that was really interesting. Like I said, I wish that they explained who everyone was on the screen, just for like people that are not Korean or people that are not really into like K-pop and stuff. So that would be interesting. And yeah, so I hope you guys like the episode. Like the episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel, also subscribe to the podcast on other platforms and on Instagram. We're on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, what else? Blue Sky, all that stuff. So yeah, catch us on there and bye.